Hello, so we'll be looking at the geometry regions from year 2011, June. Alright, so let us look at first question first. Here we have line segment AB is shown in the diagram below, which two sets of the construction marks labeled 1, 2, and 3 are the part of a construction of the perpendicular bisector. Perpendicular bisector would have been coming down through the middle, so we are looking at mark 1 and 3. That becomes our answer. Choice 2 becomes the answer. Alright, so we have two triangles that are congruent, which statement is always true. Now, in this case, one thing that which we get to realize is this. Given that two triangles are congruent as an example, so I'm making those two triangles, for example, here, as you can see, and I will label them J, K, L. Then same lettering has to be corresponding to the same location here. Now, angle L and angle M. Angle L and angle M. Do they have to be congruent? Not necessarily. J and O. J and O. Same same reasoning as the first one. Line JL, which is this line segment, is that has to be equal to or congruent to MO? That is true based upon the letterings here. Let's look at number 3. On the diagram triangle, A prime, B prime, C prime is the transformation of this. So first the triangle went from here to here and went over to the other side. This one looks like a translation, while the other one looks like a reflection. So we have translation followed by the reflection, which will be choice 4. Here we have, notice that this is the medians intersecting. So on the centroid, the relationship is 2-to-1 ratio between the line segment from the vertex to the opposite side. So the line segment FG is 12. Then this must be X, while this one is 2X. Then we get to realize that CG must be 24 by that ratio. Alright, so here we have a circle with the two chords that are parallel to each other. That tells us that this arc must be congruent to this arc. That's the beginning thing which we get to realize. And that happened to be our answer right over here. Parallel lines, the intercepted arcs are congruent. Alright, so angle 1 and angle 2, as you can see, these are the alternate interior angles. Now, then what's the value of x? But alternate interior angles are equal to each other, so we can set up 7x must be equal to 5x plus 30. In subtracting 5x, we get to have 2x must be equal to 30, where x must be equal to 15. So the answer must be 15. Choice 2. Okay, here we have angle LKN. This is the exterior angle. One thing about the exterior angle is always the sum of non-adjacent angles. So therefore, exterior angle must be 70 plus 50, which is equal to 120. That must be our answer. Number 8. Two distinct planes A and B are perpendicular to line C. Then only thing that's possible would be this. Imagine if this is a plane and another plane is given here. Then only way that's possible is where line segment or line C is perpendicular to both in this way. Now, then what do you realize about those two planes? They must be parallel to each other. That would be the correct answer, as you can see. Now, we are looking for the distance formula here. So what are we going to do? Distance must be square root of change of x, which is 7 minus negative 1 whole thing square plus 4 minus 9 square. Then here we have 8 squared becomes 64, plus here negative 5 squared becomes 25. Therefore we get square root of 89. which is choice number 2. How about here? Equation of the circle. So as you can see, it's following x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. Now, then h and k must be -1, 3. How do you find r? R will be the, in fact, distance between those 2 points, center to a point on the circle. Then you will realize that I can draw a simple right triangle to figure out the diameter, or the radius for that matter. Here change will be 3, here change is 4, so the radius must be 5. That's right, then it means x plus 1 square, because minus -1, and y minus 3 is squared must be equal to 5 squared. Anything equivalent to this one would be our answer. Plus 1, -3. Alright, there it goes. Number 1 becomes our answer. Here we have a parallelogram ABCD, has diagonals. Then we get to realize that diagonals are bisecting each other. We get to see that. Then here, what do we realize? Yes, DE must be congruent to EB, because those are the 2 parts of the one diagonal which has been bisected. So this one is true. How about AC is equal to DB? AC, which is the whole thing, is that equal to DB? Not all the time. So therefore this becomes our answer. Alright, let's look at number 12. The volume of a sphere. Volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. But we need to figure out what the value of r will be. Since diameter is equal to 6, the radius must be half of that, which is 3. That means 4/3 pi 3 cubed. Now here 3 cubed divided by 3 becomes 3 squared. So we have 4 pi times 9, which will be equal to 36 pi. Now number 13. So we have an equation where line K is given in this way, and then line M is this way. So then we have to realize their slopes to figure out if they are parallel or perpendicular or same line for that matter. So here what we can do is this. If I solve for y, so we get to realize 6y must be equal to 2x plus 18. And when I divide by 6, we get y equals 1/3 x plus 3. Now you get to realize that they have the same slope, therefore they are parallel. But they're not the same line because the y values are not the same. Number 14. What is the radius of the circle? Radius is responsible at the end, not 16, but we half of the 16. So we are looking at one of these two. What is the center? We have to change the signs here. So 5, -3, which is choice 4. Number 15. Triangle has those 3 vertices. Now the best thing is for us to actually plot them and see what happens. So I'm gonna bringing in the graph paper here. So what are my points? 0, 0 is 1, and 3, 2 is another one, and 0, 4 is another one. And notice that if you have to connect that, it looks like some sort of an isosceles triangle. Should it be equilateral? Because no, this distance is 4 while this one is not 4. So therefore we are looking at isosceles only. Number 16. In the rhombus, diagonals intersect at E. So let me try to draw the diagonals for you, or the rhombus. And 2 diagonals over here. Alright, so here we have, this is equal to E, and then let's call this one as AB, CD. So AC has been cut in 2 equal parts, and now AE is equal to 5. and BE is equal to 12. Then this becomes 5, 12. That's right, this must be 13 triangle, 5, 12, 13, or you can use the Pythagorean theorem. What is the value of AB? 13. Number 17 here. What is the length of BC? So why don't I call that as X? How are we gonna approach this question? That's right, the relationship of these line segments is AP squared is equal to the outside, which is PB, times the entire line segment, which is PC. So what is AP? AP is equal to 8 squared is equal to 4 times 4 plus X. Then here we have 64 is equal to 16 plus 4x. Then we get to realize 48 must be equal to 4x, where x is equal to 12. Now x is equal to 12, so BC will be 12 here, which is choice 4. Now number 18. The lines N and N intersect at point P. The line K is perpendicular to both lines. That means line M and N can define a plane. And they happen to have two lines intersecting in this way. And we have M and N. Now, the line K is perpendicular to both. So let us assume that there is a line K. Let me call this one as line K. Perpendicular to both, so I'm just going to put it this way. And then perpendicular, and then perpendicular the other way. And what do you realize? The line K must be perpendicular to the plane, which is choice D. Number 19. We have three angles. Then what do you realize? First, we have to calculate the measures of the angles here. So we have 3x plus 5 plus 4x minus 15 plus 2x plus 10. That has to be equal to 180, and then see what we end up getting. 3, 4, 2. So we end up getting 9x, and then is equal to 180. Therefore, x is equal to 20. Now, then when x equals 20, then first angle becomes, the angle D becomes 65, angle E becomes 65. How about angle F? Yes, it becomes 50 degrees. So therefore we get to realize these two angles are the same, D and E, not D and F, not E and F. So then, since these two angles are congruent, they're opposite sides. Opposite of angle D will be FE, and opposite of angle E is DF. So therefore, our answer must be choice 1. Let's look at number 20 here together. So these two triangles are similar. Then how do you find the value of AB, the length of AB, which is total length? So if you have to set up the ratio, 7x over 4 must be equal to 7 over x. Then what are we going to do? First, cross multiply 7x squared is equal to 28. And when we divide by 7, x squared must be equal to 4, where x must be equal to 2. That's what we end up getting. Alright. Then AB must be 14, since x equals 2. Now number 21. A man wants to place a new bird. So we are looking at 30 feet from the fence. So that means we are looking at around here somewhere. And so as around here, where the distances has to be 30 feet. Now, also 10 feet from the light pole. Then if you draw the circle from P, and I guess this will be about 10, fit here because this is 5. So then we have this becomes 10. What are the points that satisfy both conditions? It will be one right over here, one right over here. So we are looking at choice 2. All right, so let's look at this one. Under single rotation, this one has to be this way, and it looks like a rotation, or rotation, and then it's gonna be okay. It seems to be only rotation. All right, I was looking at the point reflection, but we didn't have that either. All right, let's look at number 23. Which one of the lines are parallel? So then slope has to be the same. That means the coefficients has to be the same. So 3 and 4 out, but -5 gets you 2. So -5 and then 2, then we'll end up getting this one, because once you plug in -5 and 2 in this expression, you will get -14. Number 24. If the vertex angles of the two isosceles triangles are congruent, then we get to realize the other two base angles also has to be congruent. This only tells us that the triangles are similar. Number 25. So here quadrilateral has diagonals that always bisect its angles and bisect each other. This must be a parallelogram, but because of bisecting its angles, therefore it has to be a rhombus, which is choice number 1. Alright. When triangles are dilated by the scale factors of 2, that means the line segment will be also increased by itself, which means doubles. But one thing that will change, one thing that will stay the same will be the angle. Measures of the angle wouldn't change. For example, if I have a triangle, some sort of triangle, and I'm gonna copy that here, and even if I were to make it bigger, the angle will stay the same. That's the whole idea. Alright, let's look at number 27. What is the slope of the line that is perpendicular to this one? Perpendicular, we have to be careful about that. Slope here becomes by 5x must be equal to -3x plus 4. And then when you divide by 5, we get -3 over 5x plus 4 over 5. Now, since it's perpendicular, it has to be negative reciprocal of that, so it has to be positive and 5 over 3, which is choice number 4. Number 28, here we have BD. In fact, the relationship for BD, if I have to call this one as x, then we get to realize this is 7. Here we get 9. The relationship is x squared must be equal to 7 times 9. I call this one as a toothpaste method, I mean the smiley face method, because if I were to have the triangle upside down, then what we end up getting here is the top two, the two heights multiplied by each other has to be same as the left side and the right side put together. And somehow if you have to take this triangle out, then it looks like some sort of smiley face. That's why. But anyways, here we end up having, then x squared must be equal to 63, and x must be equal to then, yes, 3 square root of 7, which is choice number 1. Write a negation of the given statement. Negation is simply putting the not. So the medians of a triangle are not concurrent. Now, we know that medians, they always meet at one point. But the fact that they are not concurrent, so therefore this will not be true because they always meet up at one point. So the answer will be false. All right, let's look at number 30. Using a compass and a straight edge, they want us to construct the equilateral triangle. All right, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the compass and a ruler. Here it goes. So first, in order for us to draw equilateral triangle, we have to measure that. Okay, actually, mine is a bit too small. So what I'm going to do is this. What if I make the picture a bit smaller? All right. So here we have and then we have to leave the marking over here and come without changing the width of the compass. That's how we mark it. And then I think we just have to draw the line. And then connect it. There it goes. So that becomes our triangle. Alright, let's look at number 31. Rectangular shipping box must have the length of 11 and the width of 8. Find the nearest tenth of an inch minimum height. So the volume would be at least 800 cubic inches. So we end up getting 800 must be equal to find the volume of the rectangular box will be length times width times height. So we have 11 times 8 times x. Then x will be equal to 800 divided by 88. So 800 divided by 88. Nearest tenth of an inch, which then becomes 9.1. That becomes our answer. Alright, let's look at number 32. If the pentagon has been reflected over the y-axis, alright, determine if the transformation is an isometry. Isometry, iso here means the same, metry means the measure. Will it be the same measures? For example, and then this one will be 5 units away, so we're going to have 5 units away. So as this one. And if I were to connect the dots, I will end up getting a shape that should look very similar to the first one, except the orientation has been changed. But yes, it is an isometry because it didn't change the size. Number 33. So we have triangle ABC. These are parallel, and then CE, which is this portion, is equal to 25, and then AD is equal to 18, and DB is equal to 12. Now this is a similar triangle question. Find the nearest tenth of the length of EB. So why don't I call that as x? Then we have 12 over entire thing, which will be equal to 30, has to be equal to x over entire thing, which is x plus 25. Then when you cross multiply, then we end up getting 30x is equal to 12x plus 300. Then we end up getting 18x must be 300. X then must be equal to 300 divided by 18. Then let's see what we end up getting. (300/18). So therefore our answer must be 16.7. That becomes our answer. Alright, let's look at number 34. Circle O has diameter, and points are given in this way. This is the same concept as the midpoint formula. So that means circle O has to have addition of those two, which is 3a plus a minus 6/2, and the other value becomes 2b minus 1 plus 4b plus 5. That becomes our center. Then here, what do we end up getting? Oh, my bad, this is 6. And here 4a becomes 2a, and then we have minus 3. Here we end up getting 6b divided by 2 becomes 3b, and then negative 1 plus 5 becomes 4, divided by 2 becomes plus 2. That becomes our center O. Alright, let's look at number 35. They want us to graph the locals of points that are equidistant from the line y equals 6 and then y equals 2. Y equals 6 here becomes 2, 3, 5, 6. That will be y equals 6. How about y equals 2? So here we have y equals 2. And also graph the locus of points that are 3 units from the y-axis. 3 units away from the y-axis would have been something like this. State the coordinate of all points that satisfy both conditions. That means we are looking at here, 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 here. So we have 3 comma 6 or 3 comma 2. And then here we have negative 3. Oops. And negative 3 comma 6 and negative 3 comma 2. Alright, let us move on to the next. Here we have Ln seems to be the 3x, and then nk, which will be 4x, and then 5k will be kl becomes 5x. Now, then here we have total 12x must be equal to 360 degrees, so therefore x becomes 30 degrees. That means we are looking at this one has to be 90 degrees, while this one has to be, let me just write it in a different color. So here we have 90 degrees from Ln, and here it becomes 150 degrees here to here. So how do you find the measure of the angle M? You have to subtract them and divide it by 2. So when you subtract it, 150 minus 90/2 becomes 30 degrees. Alright, number 37. In this case, one thing that which we can do is this: put everything into the y equals format. Solve for y, and then put them into the calculator. Then the first one here becomes y equals 2x squared minus 4x minus 1. And second one is negative x plus 1. So here we have y equals, so 2x squared so we have square 2, and then minus 4x minus 1. And the other one is negative x plus 1. We're just going to go for zoom standard, which is number 6, to figure out what's happening. So we clearly see that two values are intersecting. Now then, how are we going to find it? Intersect number 5. Yes, that's correct. The other one correct. If I had to guess it, then it'll be yes. So you have to sketch this one onto this graph, but your answer will be right over here, 1.5. And the other one, we're going to try to solve it too. And then intersect number 5. First curve, yes. Second curve, yes. But I just have to go near the value here. Another intersection would be 2, negative 1. Alright, let's look at number 38. How do you prove that the AOP, this angle, is congruent to BOP? Now the fact that it's a tangent, basically what we're going to be doing is this. We'll just go through the step by step. PA and PB are tangent to the circle. That means this measure of the angle has to be 90 degrees. Now OAO and OB are radii, so these two line segments must be equal to each other also. And OP intersects the circle. So here we have, this is common. So by HL, we know that these two triangles are congruent. Then since these two triangles are congruent, by CPCTC, AOP and then BOP will also be congruent to each other. That's about it. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.